Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
All right, Purple Daily here. If you missed the Hottest Takes episode, that's on your feed. 2-hour vent line on your feed. But today we bring to you, for this bonus episode, 6-year NFL veteran offensive lineman, former Minnesota Viking, a founding father of the O-Line Committee YouTube channel and podcast, and a man who greatly appreciates when backup offensive linemen come in and do their job just like yesterday. Jeremiah Sirles, welcome back to Purple Daily, friend.
It's good to be back. It's good to be back. I mean, I wish I could have. I haven't listened to the Hottest Takes episode yet, but man, the text threads that I had with my Minnesota Vikings people yesterday were wild. Right?
It was a journey.
It was an emotional roller coaster as I sat in the back of church watching football. It was just one of those things where you're just like, what is happening? And it's kind of like, oh, we won. That was neat.
There's so much to unpack, and at first I was kind of hoping that the PFF grades would be out for this one. They're not yet, but we have the JFF grades coming here, the Jeremiah Football Focus. He can tell us what he saw with the offensive line in a second and a bunch of other things. But Judd, MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning is here to not fix your offensive line, but your HVAC units.
Yep. And guess what, folks? It's getting chilly outside because fall is here officially. The warm is gone. MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air is here to ensure your home stays warm and comfortable all season long. You can trust the experts in plumbing, heating, and air. MSP is your local carrier dealer, delivering quality and reliability. October is the perfect time to get your HVAC system checked before the cold hits. Schedule a tune-up now to help prevent unexpected breakdowns during the peak of winter. When you choose Carrier, you're investing in a system that keeps your home comfortable and saves you money on energy bills. Check out their website today. That's msp.com. Call msp.com or give them a call, 651-615-4292. Call msp.com to learn more about MSP services and also Carrier products.
Also, real quick here, and then we'll put a quarter in Jeremiah and get out of the way here. But we on Purple Daily and on the O-Line Committee are pumped to team up with FVP Auto Parts and Menards this football season. That includes Lucas Marine Motor Oil. So now is the time when your boats are going into the garage, especially with fall weather hitting this week. Good preparation in the fall sets you up for a good spring, and that means changing the oil so your boat's engine is protected over the winter. Make sure you winterize your boat with Lucas Marine Synthetic Oil. Head to Menards today and stock up on Lucas Marine Motor Oil because performance matters on the road and beyond. All right, dudes.
Football.
The Vikings win yesterday in dramatic fashion. Jeremiah, what did you see from one of the most, on paper, hodgepodge offensive line groups that you're ever going to send into an NFL game? Backups everywhere, third stringers, a first-time center in Blake Brandel.
Who I think should be our OC1 right now if Ryan Kelly's out. Right, going back and watching the film and watching the way that he played, it's perfect for him. He's big, he's not super athletic, but you don't put him on the island like you do at guard. Because that was what people saw last year when they started going, okay, when Brandel struggles, it's when we bump that D tackle out and put him in that 4-eye, make him set out in space, make him move his feet. Guess what you don't have to do at center? They're right there. Right? They're right there in front of you. You just grab them and snatch them, and Brandel's a big, strong human being. I mean, the dude's a huge human. I thought for his first time at center in both run game and pass game, I thought he did a really nice job. So I'll start with him. I think Blake should be, even when Juergens comes back healthy, I think he should be OC1 if Kelly's on IR.
Take us through also what that job entails, because that's the thing to me is to be, and according to Brandel, he basically said, I've never played a game at center in my life. So it sounds like he was not a high school center, not a grade school center. So just from the processing and what you have to communicate and to be in communication with the quarterback continually, the challenges, take us through what those are and how impressive it was that he stepped in and did this.
Yeah, well, I think a guy for him, he started a full year in this system. He's been in this system. Any backup, you have to know every job from every position, right? He's been the swing tackle. He's been the swing guard. So he knows what everyone's job is on every given play because he didn't know what position he was going to have to go into the game and play. So when you then step into the center role, the mental fatigue for him was probably pretty easy. And I can say that because I did the same thing in year 5 and 6 when I was with Buffalo. I was the 6th man. It didn't matter what position got hurt. I was going in, whether it was center or left tackle. And with Brandel, he's kind of assumed that role into this offense and know that's his role. So for him, the mental side of it, I think, is actually pretty easy because that's how he studies. And so it's not as much the, hey, what's the call? Where am I going? It's just, hey, let's make sure we're all on the same page, right? Hey, let's make sure you know where we're going. Let's make sure you know where you're going. Hey, Carson, do you know what this call is? I do. And so that's why I feel like the communication in this game compared to the end of last game when Juergens had to go in was much better. You didn't see a bunch of free runners. You didn't see guys mis-ID'd. I felt like Brandel from the mental capacity did a fantastic job, but that's not surprising. He's a veteran, right? He's been out there before, and he's been in this system.
I love, dude, that was like an honorary Monday hottest take. And only you would be able to tell us because you know what you're looking at. But so you think, because we're sitting here like, oh man, if Ryan Kelly doesn't play again, which I think that's right. Probably a discussion, you wouldn't necessarily panic and make a trade for like a starting center. You think you saw enough in the first, well, game by game, but Brandel handled it well enough to keep going forward.
I felt like he handled it well enough that you don't have to then make a move. Right. And I think that was the biggest concern was, hey, if Brandel comes out here and it's a disaster and there's snaps all over the place and there's communication errors everywhere, like, okay, panic button, we got to make something happen. But from just an operational standpoint, which is 90% of the center's job, right? Make sure we all know the snap count. Make sure we all know where we're going. And listen, in London too, it's so weird because people cheer at the weirdest time. Like, it's not third down when it's the loudest. It's like first down, and people are like, yeah. And you're like, shit, I'm not used to having to communicate like this when offense is out on the, like. So from that standpoint alone, he showed his professionalism. And then from the center position, playing the center position is honestly probably the easiest of the 5 physically on the offensive line. Because you usually have bumpers on both sides. You're usually combo blocking with one person, or you're climbing up on a linebacker. You're never really on an island unless they just go 5-0, and you just got to figure that out. I think that bodes well to his game of being strong, big in the middle. And also Carson Wentz, if he's going to still play, or when J.J. McCarthy comes back, you can't put pressure in his face, just like when Kirk used to hate when Bradbury be in his lap. I think Brandel has a big enough anchor that if someone wants to bull rush him, sweet. Go for it. And then if they want to try and game him, well, that's when you have Will Fries on one side, and hopefully you get Donovan Jackson back on the other, and you start building some camaraderie between those interior 3.
I might consider, because I think Kelly, unfortunately, might be done. I mean, I don't know, but with this, I might consider still trying to go out and get a center to, if nothing else, back up Blake then. Like the Juergens thing, I did not think, and correct me if you think I'm completely wrong, the Juergens thing to me did not feel like it went very well. He's a 7th round pick. So I would like to see them add some depth. But yeah, I mean, Blake Brandel, you did not come away from that game saying, oh boy. In fact, I think, Jeremiah, if I am correct on this, I think we saw one bad snap, and that bounced to Wentz. He picked it up, handed it to Mason, and they actually got a decent gain. So that was my thing. How does the exchange look, especially in shotgun? And I thought it looked, for the most part, absolutely fine.
Yeah, and I think that it's a position that he'll get better with if he continues to play with. Now, I know the PFF grades are probably going to come out, and people are going to be like, oh, they got 41 PFF grade or whatever he got. But that's not what the tape looked like to me, right? And I think that
what's his JFF grade?
My JFF grade is passing. And I mean, that's all you have to do at the center position. You got to pass, man. You got to get the ball from the ground to the center, and you got to get everyone lined up. And then from there, you can clean up the physical things, because
I love this.
The difference between guard and center is very, very different physically, right? Guard, you have a little bit of space, and you can get 2 feet in the ground, and you can get running off the ball. At center, man, I remember the first time I played center in a real game, and I was like, back up. Like, you kind of want to like push the nose guard away. Like, dude, get the frick away from me, because they are right there. And it just takes it just changes your timing with everything. And I think Brandel is a veteran enough that I'm not panicking at the center position right now at all.
Can we go down a quick side street off your point?
Let's go.
I think that you should start this JFF, and here's why. In my opinion, there are certain positions, offensive line being a big one, where I think the actual grading in numbers is silly. I think you should have E for excellent, P for passing, F for fail.
Yeah.
So like what? Because like what does to like the three of us talking to you right now? What does a 52 grade for an interior lineman mean? I have no clue.
It means that we get to sit on here on our high horses, having quit football in 8th
Kill
grade,
him!
and savage the guy that has a 52 score with full confidence, and it's great.
But unless the guy sucks, it's not a sexy enough position to actually try to grade that hard. Like we're not going to, unless the guy is a disaster, we're probably not going to have an extended discussion about the left guard. So that's my point is let's give him an excellent. Okay, that was excellent. You were awesome. Christian Darrisaw is an E.
Yes.
Passing, a lot of guys I thought on Sunday, they get a P. They passed. They did just fine. And if you suck, you get an F.
Well, I still have yet to figure out how PFF grades it because I go look at grades and it's like, okay, this dude he had 58 pass attempts. He had 1 hit, 1 hurry. Okay, how does he have a 47 passing grade? Like, I don't understand the metrics in which they use, and maybe that's because I'm a moron, but like, I talk to my guys in the league who I watch film with. I'm like, hey, how'd you grade out by coach? Like, oh, I graded out an 88. I pull up PFF and they gave him a 56. Right, because there's a difference between getting the assignment done and then looking pretty while you do it.
Yeah.
Because that's what PFF is like, oh, look at that footwork and that perfect block. Oh, there's a good grade. Versus on film, it's like, oh, he didn't hit the quarterback.
So
good job, dude.
If you're, as you put it on O-line committee, if you're dying a slow death and the throw gets off, and okay, it's a pressure because you're dying a slow death back into the quarterback, but in a binary. Did the rep affect the play or not negatively? No, it was fine. It didn't look great, and other players may have not been walked back into the quarterback, but
or the beaten by defender thing, where it's like, oh, you were away from the ball and you got thrown down to the ground late. F. It's like he didn't affect the play. If he doesn't affect the play, it should not be represented in the grade, and that's what happened with Blake. I felt like he did enough that it didn't affect the play. It wasn't always pretty. It wasn't something that you're going to hang in Canton. But for stepping into the role that he needed to step into, I thought he did a really nice job.
What do you think, just to zoom out from Blake, Dex, do you have those Myles Garrett stats from earlier?
Oh, the pressure rate stuff?
But it was like the fewest pressures that Myles Garrett had generated in some number of games or something.
I thought Kevin O'Connell had a great plan for Garrett.
Yeah.
Right? We talk about it on the O-line committee all the time. When you walk into a game on Wednesday of game prep, first thing they do is pull up the depth chart, and there's dudes that have stars next to them. Right? Hey, that guy right there, can't let him wreck the game. Right? And 95 will always and forever have a star next to him. And I thought they did a really nice job with Josh Oliver and TJ Hawkinson of just getting guys in his way and frustrating him.
So I don't know where Next Gen Stats lands on the JFF parallels, but the Vikings limited Myles Garrett to 2 pressures on 35 pass rushes, which was his second lowest pressure rate in a game since 2021. And they did this by chipping Garrett on 42.9% of his rushes, which was the 3rd highest chip rate Garrett has faced since he debuted in the NFL.
That's right. Just sending bodies upon bodies at him the entire game. Tight ends.
It's what you have to do. Plan for those dudes. The guys that do the whole he puts his shoes on and cleats on just like the rest of us are the ones that let the dude wreck the game.
Yeah, and then he makes hit records. That's the difference.
He's
Elvis.
Yeah, I thought that Kevin O'Connell had a great plan for trying to neutralize Myles Garrett and make someone else beat them.
So my hottest take today was this. It was that Kevin O'Connell, in talking about the things that he did, he was asked a question at his post-game press conference, Jay, about the fact that the quarterback moved the pocket more, was in the boots, and the end of the question was, is that a product of your offensive line against their defensive line? And O'Connell, as you know, ordinarily chapter and verse, right? Mm-hmm. Three paragraphs of just how the world came together and blah, blah, blah. 17-word answer. We wanted to make sure we had a game plan to try to win the game today.
After a deep sigh. Yeah.
He goes, yeah. We wanted to try to make sure, and he sounded miserable. My only assessment was this. I think, and I'm with you, I think he did a great job. My assessment was, I think he was miserable about it. I literally think, I don't know if someone had to take a pen and like hit him and be like, we got to do this. We got to do this. But it almost felt like he was forced to go outside of the religion of his offense, and he begrudgingly did it, and it worked. And he was still miserable having to watch it.
I completely agree. I think that he was on the sideline going, I hate this. Like, I absolutely hate this, right? Like, where's my 18-yard crossers? Where's my 3 receivers 20 yards down the field? Where's Sam Darnold, damn it, right? And he's just sitting there going, but this is working, right? And this is what I have to do, and I have to pull the horses back. I can't just let everything go out of the stable, and I know Kevin's a good coach. And watching the game last week and watching the openers from the game last week and seeing the short passing game be productive and watching them go right down the field. And then as the game progressed and things got to nut cutting time, he reverted back into my bag of tricks. And that's when things started to go off the rails for Carson Wentz. Versus this week, got to have it moment, got to drive down the field, got to do it. Stick with what got you there, right? Don't dig into the bag of tricks, Kevin. Stay with the game plan. Don't go and scheme and go into the mad lab. Hey, here's the call sheet. Read off the call sheet, right? Nothing but the short game call sheet. That's all we can do right now. And I agree. I think he hated every second of it. I don't think he enjoyed calling this football game, but it's where we're at as a team right now, and it's what we have to do to win football games.
But I had the opposite reaction of him, which is the first, I think it was mostly just the scripted first 15 or 20. There was like a jet sweep to Jalen Naylor for a chunk, and there was a tunnel screen to TJ Hawkinson. Right, they basically unblocked Myles Garrett just to take him out of the play. Boom, Hawkinson behind him, chunky yards, and we'll break the film down with Booney sometime this week. And I haven't seen the all 22. I think the first completion to Jefferson, he's coming across behind the line of scrimmage in motion to the right. They snap it. I think Christian Darrisaw was to the right of the right tackle on that formation. So they're doing these like creative things in the first 15 or 20 plays. It felt more creative and some looks that they haven't done before. I don't know, like even if you don't have third string offensive linemen, and I would try to keep some of that as part of the DNA of the scheme going forward. I loved it, Jay.
Yeah, I thought it was really creative and it was really fun, but it's not what he wants to do. I mean, if you go back and just study what he's done over since he's got to Minnesota, it's the bag of tricks down the field. It's not the bag of tricks at the line of scrimmage. It's putting the DBs in impossible situations to win. It's creating leverage when you don't think you have by pre-snap motions and shifts and doing all of that. It's not gimmick stuff. And I don't know, there's certain coaches that just feel like, I don't want to do gimmicks to win. Like, I want to win off my merit and my coaching ability. But when you're down to 4 offensive linemen that are very rarely considered starters anywhere else in the league, you got to go into the bag of tricks at the line of scrimmage and create chaos early instead of late down the field.
O'Connell is a complex dude. He is a very complex dude.
He's a quarterback.
But I mean, he is still fixated. He can say he's not, but he is. He is still fixated on the fact his career didn't work out. And here's how I see him. I see him hating yesterday in part because it was a game plan a coach would have given him. He wants the high flying. He wants the circus, man. He wants all of the circus. He wants the guy on the high wire, right? And I really think he talks about it constantly. If something bothers Kevin, he can't not discuss it. And he talks endlessly about his career. And I think he was very damaged by the fact that he was not necessarily trusted. And by the way, there's a very good chance that the coaches who didn't trust him were right. But I think the game plan that we saw yesterday was his nightmare because he was handed it, which is, I will hold your hand. We will do things the right way. It's not going to be fun, but it's going to be effective. And I think as a coach, he thinks, I'm putting my brain into the quarterback and I'm going to maximize that. But the problem is Carson Wentz doesn't have the ability, the arm talent, as football people say, that Sam Darnold does. Mm-hmm. So I really, because I sensed a guy, I've never sensed him so disgusted at the podium after a win as I did yesterday. Like, I'm like, there's a lot here to unpack that goes beyond one game. And I really think that that's it.
I don't think you're off as much as, I think coaches love to They love to build the game plan, and then when it's successful, be able to give the credit to the players, but then go home at night and look themselves in the mirror and be like, I did that. Right? Like, yeah, that was me. Right? Like, I won't say it, but like, good job, Kevin. Like, and I feel like after that game, he went home and it was that scene from, was it Billy Madison, where he's putting the lipstick on and like shaving his head. Like, oh, how dare I? Like, I feel like that's a little bit about what's going on with him. But when you talk about Carson Wentz, there's enough game film on Carson Wentz from the years of him being in the league. You know what he is, and defensive coordinators know what he is. And so they're going to game plan Carson Wentz. They're not game planning the Minnesota Vikings anymore. They're not looking at the Kevin O'Connell offense and going, this is what we have to prepare for. They're going, we have to prepare for Carson Wentz. What does he do poorly? How do we put him in a bind? How do we make him do things he doesn't want to do? Oh, he wants to run like he's Cam Newton? Break his freaking shoulder, right? There's just certain things that defenses are going to do because of the limitations at the quarterback position. And sorry, Vikings fans, that's not going to change when J.J. McCarthy gets back. It's not all of a sudden, like, I think a lot of times, we're sitting there going, oh, we just got to get our starting quarterback back. I'm not sure the starting quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, is going to put us in a better position to win football games than Carson Wentz is right now if Kevin O'Connell goes back to the offense of like, okay, Carson's gone, now I can open up and let everything run again. I'm not sure that's the best situation for us.
Okay, let's actually get into the quarterback part of this. So this is pretty rarely, I think, do NFL players and teams want the week 4 or week 5 bye week, because especially with a 17-game schedule, because now it's like, and if you're going to make the playoffs,
it's just death march to the end.
It's a grind. You'd like it to be a little bit later, right? But this is actually, I think, one of the rare week 5 buys where maybe the Vikings would welcome it. Like, all right, we have so many injuries. We got to figure out the quarterback stuff. But where are you at with the Vikings quarterback situation? And I'll throw a little I'm going to throw my own spin on this. Watching Drake May last night against the Bills, your Bills, by the way, just getting embarrassed at home on national TV.
11 penalties will do that to a person.
Turnovers. Drake May's breaking out. He's like 20 games into his career. Jaden Daniels, 20-some games in, rookie of the year last year, stud, running around yesterday. Bo Nix is winning a bunch of games, playoffs last year, and now they're over 500. Michael Penix coming along, Caleb. And all these guys are like 20 games into their journeys, right? And J.J. McCarthy's in the driveway still. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to pile on him. It's not his fault that he had a knee injury or his fault that he's high ankle, although you could probably avoid getting tackled in the future and you wouldn't have to worry about that. But where are we at with this now? A year and a half in, and you're trying to balance long term, but also like you have a mission to win some games this year too. So where do you see it?
This was the worst possible situation for J.J. McCarthy. To come in, start the first game, not look great, find a way to get a gutty win, and show that there's some things in there. But that second game, man, nothing really positive at all to say about J.J. McCarthy based off that second game. And this is why you signed Carson Wentz, because you knew the limitations of Carson Wentz, and it wasn't going to be one of those things where Carson was going to come in and have a Case Keenum type moment where he was going to rise above his play level and rise above his expectation, and then everyone's going to be like, oh, well, we don't want the kid anymore. You knew what Carson was, and you knew that his limitations were always going to allow for you to put J.J. McCarthy back into the lineup. The problem now becomes, if J.J. McCarthy cannot even rise to the level that Carson Wentz is playing at right now, you're in an impossible situation as a coach. Do we stick with the young kid and live through our lumps and get through we go, or do we go back to Carson Wentz that we know we can win football games with? And that's the situation where I don't envy Kevin O'Connell for being put in that situation, and you need J.J. McCarthy to step up and show that my ceiling and my potential right now in year 1 is better than Carson Wentz in year 11 or 12 or whatever he's in right now. But if he can't show that, I don't know how in good conscience you can put him back out there over Carson Wentz if he's out there just doing what he did in game 2.
Do you think, back to your point about O'Connell and play calling, do you think that O'Connell has the stomach, though, to rein in himself when McCarthy comes back? Because I will say this, Kevin has the tendency, and he didn't do it on Sunday, and he hated his life. He has the tendency to get over his skis with expectations at times. Does he have the stomach to call a game for J.J. McCarthy as will help him, as opposed to, well, he knows all this, why can't he do it?
I don't know if he can, because I don't think J.J. McCarthy can throw quick game. personally. I don't think Carson Wentz's strength is quick game. Go back to when he was winning a bunch of games in Philadelphia. It was RPO over to Alshon Jeffries. It was RPO, right? You had deep shots to, who was the speedy receiver that was still up there? Deshaun Jackson, right? Like, it was just these play action, quick passes, RPOs, throw the deep shot. It was nothing like Kevin O'Connell's system. J.J. McCarthy, I have not seen from him, even from his college days, that the quick game is the answer for him. And so the game plan that I would have for J.J. McCarthy is run the damn football, right? Run the football and then let him move out of the pocket, create the long down the field throws after you've established the run. The game plan for Carson Wentz and J.J. McCarthy, in my opinion, are night and day different. And I'd be very curious to see what Kevin O'Connell's game plan would be for J.J. McCarthy, because it can't just be quick hitches, quick outs, quick slants. It's down the field throws, because that's what J.J. has shown, at least on tape in his career, that he is successful at.
Yeah, I almost would. I guess I'll ask this, and then I'll have a take off it. But Jay, how far? If let's say Carson Wentz was the starter the rest of the year, which it's not going to happen, but just for fun, like this version of Carson Wentz. What's their record at the end of the year?
9-8, fighting for a wild card spot. Maybe
Okay.
maybe 10-7.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's
fair.
fair. I think there's 9 or 10 wins there with Carson Wentz, and I think it could be the same with J.J. McCarthy. The problem is I think the floor is lower with J.J. McCarthy than it is with Carson Wentz.
And I agree with your answer, by the way. I think with Carson Wentz level play, there's like 9 or 10 wins on this schedule still, especially you got the Browns wins. You're 3-2. The Eagles look more vulnerable. The Ravens defense is your schedule's a little smoother than. Yeah, but like Lamar will be back by that game maybe, but your schedule's there's some wins out there. But if we agree that the upside or the peak of a Carson Wentz led team the next few months is like maybe 9 or 10 wins, a road playoff game, we'll see what happens. Then I care way less about the floor being lower for McCarthy. I just want to see him. I want to know one way or the other going into February and March how I feel about him. I can't go into another offseason having no idea what he is or isn't going to be. So I would elevate that as an organization to a top priority above most other things the second half of the year.
Yeah, but that's really easy for all of us to sit here and say we're not killing ourselves on Sundays. Right, we're not going out to war every single Sunday and putting the helmet on and going to fight for wins in this league, watching a disaster at quarterback. That is hard for a player to stomach, man. I'm beating the living crap out of myself every single day, going to practice, preparing to go out on Sunday and watch the quarterback position. As a player, if I'm going to win 9-10 games, great. I don't want to win 6. I don't want to win 5 or 6 or 7 based off the fact that we're trying to see what our quarterback has. If that was the case, you shouldn't have built the roster that you built.
And you just hit on what I said. And look, O'Connell's done a great job. Like, the culture seems really, really good. I do believe that the locker room has been harmonious almost the entire time,
yes.
Jay. But here's the problem. And I brought this up before, and it's this. Because I'm with Phil. I want to see McCarthy play. Mm-hmm. But if you have a locker room that's fairly certain that Carson Wentz can win games and that J.J. McCarthy is a struggling work in progress, it's my opinion that it's very hard for Kevin O'Connell to walk into that room with a bunch of grown-ass men and say, hey, guys, we're going to do what's best for the team. And that's playing McCarthy. I just think that's how – and I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this, because what I want to know is how much is that locker room dynamic not just important, but how quickly can it be lost if you know, I don't know, Hargrave and Allen and Fry say, what the hell, I signed here for this? So like, what is that balancing act of keeping the players engaged and happy, but potentially doing something they're not going to like, that they're going to object to?
The balancing act is just making sure that J.J. McCarthy is serviceable. That's all it is. You just have to make sure that he's not the number one reason you're losing football games, right? And it doesn't usually fall on one player. It doesn't usually fall. There's a combination of why you lose football games, whether it's turnovers or missed tackles or special teams or hitting a freaking guide wire on a field goal. But if you can look at it, and we go through a 3-game stretch there where you're going, 9 is the problem. right? We are losing football games because of J.J. McCarthy. That's when the locker room's going to start going, are we just rolling with this? Like, because I'm not here to lose football games. Right? You didn't sign me here to lose football games and miss the playoffs.
Right.
Especially if you get yourself in a position walking into December where a playoff spot is manageable. And I think that with this roster, that's very possible. That's when the decision time has to come of, hey, who gives us the best chance to go win right now? I think you can get through October and you can get through the middle part of November with J.J. McCarthy. But if at one point in time this thing starts going off the rails big time, you need to play the quarterback that gives you the best chance to win and go to the playoffs.
Yeah, and I get all that in like the short term and the locker room and everything, but from a front office ownership zooming out, even if you're Kevin O'Connell and you want to be here and win a Super Bowl at some point,
you got to know what the kid can do. You got to know what the kid can do.
The ceiling, the ceiling is the only thing that matters for this organization. For 65 years, they've done everything there is to do except win a Super Bowl. And if you don't think Carson Wentz, even playing at a pretty good level, is a Super Bowl ticket, then every day that McCarthy is healthy and you don't know is a waste. So but I understand everything you're saying. Like, hey, veteran offensive Brian O'Neill, like he's got another knee injury and he's trying to figure out, am I going to be here next year and all these things. You have to walk that line, and it's tough for Kevin O'Connell at this point.
And also, do you put your rookie quarterback? Will you be able to see the ceiling? Will you be able to see the potential behind 4 backup offensive linemen?
Yeah.
Or are you going to ruin a kid's confidence? Are you going to ruin a kid's ability, which we've seen so many times, time in and time out in the NFL, when a young quarterback goes into a tough situation? I mean, Carson Wentz got that ball out pretty damn quick against Cleveland, right? Rightfully slow. It was the game plan. You got to do that. If that's not J.J. McCarthy's strong suit, and you're rolling out Justin School and Walter Rouse and Blake Brandel at center and Joe Huber at guard, I don't know how you're necessarily going to be like, yeah, let's see what the kid can do. Right? I think it's almost, for me, I'm not really comfortable putting J.J. back out there until you at least have 3 of your 5 starters back on the offensive line.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that O'Connell has, and he will use the trump card of the high ankle sprain still a problem. Because you can make a case, and I know if this was a veteran QB, he could probably come back right now,
100%.
right? But the fact is where O'Connell is going to be correct is he has to be able to protect himself, because I can't tell him not to run. Correct. Like if you tell him not to run, you should not play him. So I actually don't think, as a guy that loves a good conspiracy theory and thinks the teams are lying constantly, which they ordinarily are.
Like the government.
Yeah, exactly right. Worse than the government at times. That's how secretive teams are. But anyway, I think there's a good case to be made here that he doesn't come back against Philadelphia, not because you think he sucks, but because, yes, of the backups and the fact that I've got to give him a chance. Like, as close as I can get him to being 100% again, I need to do that to play him, because if I put him in at 85%, I'm asking for trouble, and I don't know what I'm going to get.
I completely agree. With a veteran quarterback like a Matthew Stafford or a Jared Goff or a Joe Burrow, right? Them at 85% is better than a lot of starters at 100. You're talking about a kid that looked really tough at 100% health. You can't put him back out there at anything less than 90% and above, right? And unless you tell me, hey, I'm 90% full go, give me the Toradol, give me the shots, let's freaking rock and roll, and I'll be good to go, right? There's certain things that can bump you 10%, right? Like, put it in the arm, coach, and we can roll. Unless you tell me you're at that point in time, I can't put you back out there because I don't trust you yet. You haven't earned the trust of your teammates. You haven't earned the trust of the coaches. You haven't earned the respect from the rest of the NFL. Because trust me, if I see J.J. McCarthy back there, I'm going to blitz him early. I'm going to blitz him often. And I'm going to send the house saying, is he healthy enough to move and be mobile if there's a free runner? Or is he quick enough in the head to see the hot route and to read the defense and get the ball where it needs to be? He hasn't shown any of that yet in the NFL, so he's going to get tested. Oh, by the way, there's four backup offensive linemen in front of him, so let's test him with not full protection. You'll never see the kid's full potential.
Yeah. Hey, before we get to, so Dex is going to be out for a few days, back to hybrid paternity leave, and so we're going to have him present his weekly Dex's tiers of 32 NFL teams.
Tiers.
To Jeremiah.
I like tiers.
And so you can see what Jeremiah thinks of the way Declan ranks teams. I just opened up the Prize Picks app here also, by the way. And tonight, you got Monday Night Football tonight. Trevor Lawrence, they're giving you 0.5 passing touchdowns here for Trevor Lawrence. You click the more button on that. And you can start your journey on Prize Picks for tonight. You select between 2 and 6 players. It takes less than 60 seconds if you want, and it's the best way to win real money this football season. So pick more or less on those projected stats. Place your entry. Super easy. Download the Prize Picks app today, right here, right on your phone. Boom. And use the code PURPLEDAILY on Prize Picks to get $50 in lineups when you play just $5. That's Prize Picks app, code PURPLEDAILY. Get $50 in lineups when you play just $5. Prize Picks, run your game. Our favorite hot sauce on this show is Crybaby Craig's, Dex. I put it on some homemade tacos a couple days ago. Delicious.
Yep. Bloody Marys, breakfast, lunch, dinner. They have plenty of different hot sauces. You can find them, like, honestly, at most grocery stores, but also you can go to crybabycraigs.com and you can use promo code PD10 for 10% off. And you can get the little bottles, which is great. You can also just get a jug. You can get like a gallon of hot sauce that you can just have at your disposal ready. We saw at the State Fair, that big gallon at the State Fair. You can have that in your house with promo code PD10. Crybaby Craig's, it's my start to every weekend and honestly every meal. So go to crybabycraigs.com and use promo code PD10.
Also, North American Banking Company powering this OLC crossover. O-Line Committee, find the YouTube channel, Apple, Spotify. You can find more of Jeremiah and Alex Boone. North American Banking Company, Minnesota-based since 1998. They have 6 locations in the Twin Cities: Maple Grove, Roseville, Shoreview, Hastings, Woodbury, and 50th in France. And if you are looking for a better banking experience, I don't know, maybe a more human connection with your bank, and you're not just pressing buttons to go through some AI-generated protocol, personal relationships, cutting-edge online tools are the things that North American Banking Company specializes in. So if you're interested in finding out more, go to nabankcode.com/Mackey. That's nabankcode.com/Mackey. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Before the tiers, is that
you have your own promo code? That's a fine. That's a
do we
big
have a name
fine.
for that?
Yeah, big baller fine. Yeah, big baller. You got your own promo code.
We're
That's
also late fine for us being 5 minutes late recording this.
We'll fall on the sword for that.
Before the tiers, Judd, let's do the Darisaw thing real quick here.
Yeah. So Darisaw plays 76 snaps against Pittsburgh, reaches a snap count, I guess, limit yesterday at 41, gets pulled out.
Lying fine by Kevin O'Connell, but yeah, please continue.
So no. So tell me that's what I want, because like I'm not going to go after a guy who I have no idea. He came back early, so this is outside of my purview. As a former lineman, what's going on here?
I think he dinged himself again. I think something didn't feel right. I think he went to the coaches and was like, "Listen, I don't feel right. Something's not there, whether it's swelling or instability or the quad is hurting." Something didn't feel right for Christian Darisaw, because if you have him on a pitch count, you don't do that pitch count in the second half. You do that pitch count in the first half. Like, hey, let's rotate you in after a quarter. Let's get some guys in. See how you feel. Tell me, are you feeling all right? And then we'll figure it out in the second half. You don't just throw Walter Rouse out there in a gotta-have-it situation and move Justin School from left to right. You don't do the three-way chair shuffle in the middle of the second half because he was on a pitch count. I think that something was not feeling right in Darisaw. He went to the trainers and the coach was like, listen, we got a long season ahead. I don't want to ruin something here. It doesn't feel like it's serious, but something's not right with either my knee or something else in his body, which he has every right to do as the player. And I think that was why they said, okay, let's just pull back here, because you don't take your best tackle out when Myles Garrett's staring down the barrel and switch School, who probably didn't play any left tackle all week long in practice, and that piece there. So it was a really interesting thing. I think Kevin might have panicked a little bit and not wanted to say, oh, Darisaw's hurt, because he had no information. They're in London. Let's get back home. Let's get in front of our doctors. Let's make sure everything's before I put something out into the universe of what might actually be wrong with Christian Darisaw.
Yeah, that was what struck me too, was, okay, if you came in and said he's going to be capped at whatever, 50 snaps or 45 snaps, you'd stagger those so that he's available in the fourth quarter when the game's on the line, right?
Correct.
You play 20 in the first half and you got 30 available if we need in the second half. You don't
let
just
someone
empty
else,
the bag and
you
then,
let someone else start the third quarter, right? Hey, coming out of halftime, get yourself warmed up, make sure you're feeling right, make sure your body's ready to go. You've been sitting around, then we'll get you in, communicate with us. And, I find it really interesting that that was the excuse that was used, because that's just not how I feel like you should. And if that is the case, then they mismanaged the pitch count.
Yeah. I think I agree. It's kind of black and white. Good to hear it from someone that knows what they're looking at. All right, Dex, speaking of people that know what they're looking at,
Damn right.
Dex is going to put 32 NFL teams in various tiers here, and Jeremiah is going to judge the hell out of him. Let's fire this up.
Yep. So here, as I pop this on the screen, here is Zesty Dex with his Dex tiers coming up here. I saw someone say that's Zesty Dex with the screenshot. So we'll I guess we'll rock it.
What's
Zesty
the fine
Dex
there?
and
What's
his tiers.
Dex's fine? The O-line committee fine.
That's a big baller fine as well there. You just pumping your own tires.
I'm the only one, not a big baller.
Maybe a self-suck. I think it's probably more of a self-suck fine.
Maya, where does the jurisdiction land, though, if I didn't grab this screenshot and put it in here?
You put it up there.
I made the graphic for him, but he is judiciously using this.
You didn't have to bring attention to
True.
it. You could have just been like, and here we go with Dex's tiers. You didn't have to bring attention to your sexiness.
This is true. Yeah. Okay, look at me, Louie. So here's all. Usually I go one by one. I am gonna like group some things together as
Love it.
On the tiers here. So here's the first one. And in the words of Michael Gary Scott, it takes a big man to admit his mistake, and I am that big man. Okay? The I'm an idiot tier with the Detroit Lions. Because the Detroit Lions look awesome. They're not idiots, by the way. I'm the idiot for questioning and assuming, not even questioning, assuming that the Detroit Lions were going to fall off with coordinators leaving and then just having success. Eventually, they're going to have to be bad. Right? No, their offense is shockingly better. They are even more dangerous than they were last year. So it goes in the I am an idiot tier. They get their own top spot on the mountain with an admission from me of saying, I'm an idiot.
Listen, just to Jeremiah, just so you know, okay? And get ready for the self-suck fine here, too.
Yeah.
Okay. This entire show, Purple Daily, including our guy Thor, clowned me for not knowing ball because I didn't go along with their groupthink idea that the Lions were going to fall out of the playoffs in 2000.
Yeah, because you have another online podcast where we all were like, can everyone just calm down? Like, can we just, like, the O-line committee, I will say this, the O-line committee was not in panic about the Detroit Lions because, as I say all the time, it's not the X's and O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes. And if you look at what Detroit lost, they lost X's and O's. They still have unbelievable players at every single field. Oh, yeah, and they got Aiden Hutchinson back.
So the truth comes out, though. So you guys, the
truth comes out that a member of the show consults with smart football people to form opinions. That's
Hey, Declan,
how controversial.
Words of advice from Sports Dad: do not punt on yourself after 5 weeks. You never know.
Stop.
You got to milk this thing.
I love
December.
how when Judd's spinning his take as like, hey, it's a small sample size. Yeah, the 4-year sample size of the Lions being like the second best team in the NFL. Small sample size.
I'm going with that. 5 weeks.
How dare they?
When you're in the take business, you have to be entertaining and you have to be self-deprecating and you have to have realization. You can't just die on a hill over and over again because this is not Call of Duty. Eventually, you don't respawn.
Unless it's Kirk Cousins being bad.
Yes.
You got to give it a few months, Dex. You got to give it way more time, though.
When you're in the take business.
When you're in the take business.
Yeah, that's another one.
Okay. I love that one. So how about this one? Still legit contenders. A slip up here by the Bills and Eagles. They finally lose a game. How do we feel about the Bills and Eagles? Do we look less at them? Do we still have them in the same vein? Or maybe even like a better way to phrase this, do you have the Bills or Eagles above one another? Or do we? How do we look at the Bills after, and Eagles after dropping a game this weekend?
I still have the Bills above the Eagles because I truly believe that the Bills beat themselves last night, that the Patriots didn't beat the Bills. I think the Broncos legitimately beat the Eagles. I think the Broncos had game-winning drive. They went down the field. They had them like Jalen Hurts. That offense, I was talking to my brother. I was like, the Eagles suck, but they're somehow really good. Like, I don't know how to do – like, they kind of suck when you're watching, but they're just really good. The Broncos found ways to expose them versus I truly just believe that was just the Bills playing sloppy football last night. And they'll be fine. They'll be back. So I still have the Bills as the top Super Bowl contenders right now. The Eagles have to figure out their offensive troubles.
The Eagles love the drama, too. Last season, 2-2. Everyone's like, this is a mess. Sirianni's like yelling at the media. I think they won their next 14 games.
Yep.
They love the drama. But I will say this, the OC there, because it's Philly, already on the hot seat, which is fantastic. Just got the job. They're already mad at him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, Kellen Moore being gone, I think, is a huge issue. Kellen Moore was a big piece of what made that offense go. And I think I read that they only rushed the ball 7 times with Saquon Barkley in the second half. How dumb do you have to be? I don't care what the Broncos are doing. Hand the ball to 26, man. Like, he'll create. When you're leading, I don't care if they're giving you 8 up fronts. Hand the ball to 26 and let him make something happen when your passing game has been next to nothing all year long. Their offense is going to be a problem. And with the chaos, I'm not sure that locker room handles chaos great. We'll see down the road. I mean, A.J. Brown's going to request a trade before probably November would be my guess.
Yeah, and the welcome to the party, pal, which we just had the Broncos in there. The Patriots obviously joined the party too by a Drake May coming out party. Big time moment for him. They beat the Bills in Buffalo. Stephon Diggs having a big game, so they go on the welcome to the party, pal tier. A new addition to this.
Couple dangerous under the radar teams.
Drake May versus Josh Allen twice a year for the next 10 years. Sign me up.
No kidding.
Wow, look at these tiers.
2 tiers here. The pretty good but how good, and the who the hell are you tier. So with the pretty good but how good, the Colts, the Bucks, the Seahawks, the Niners, the Rams, the Chiefs. Obviously the Bucks and Colts, they're off to a good start. I saw the Bucks, they're the only team in NFL history to start 4-1 with all their wins coming in the last minute of regulation. So they've kind of like snuck by here, but they've looked good. The Colts and Danny Dimes are off to a nice start. I know Seattle ended up, which was probably maybe the game of the week yesterday.
So good.
So much fun. They Darnold gets that ball tip, throws an interception, but they still look pretty solid. The Niners are winning with Mac Jones. And the Rams and Chiefs, obviously Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, good head coaches. It's hard to really count them out. So I had the pretty good, but how good tier, and I don't know who separates themselves from the rest right now in this tier.
I think that's a great tier. I mean,
thank you.
I think the best team, the team that I think maybe even needs to be the bump up is the Colts, man. Because defensively, they're playing really well. And then offensively, Jonathan Taylor is going to have a career year. I mean, he might be Offensive Player of the Year this year if he keeps up the pace that he's having right now. I worry about the Bucs defense. The Bucs defense concerns me.
Baker's been phenomenal so far.
So good.
That was a fun game yesterday. That was a fun game. I wouldn't be shocked if any of these teams were playing second, third weekend of the playoffs. Even the Niners. The Niners just find ways.
Yeah, man.
They've had a couple down seasons where there have been too many injuries, but they've overcome them this year. And obviously Shanahan has brought any number of different quarterbacks to prominent success. So, yeah, it's fun.
In the who the hell are you tier, I don't know. I haven't been able to make like a definitive judgment. And that's the Falcons, the Vikings, the Steelers, the Jags, Washington, Chicago, and the Texans. Some of these teams have shown heights. Some of these teams have had some lows. There's clearly a line. Excuse me, so I get choked up talking about this. There's clearly a line from the pretty good and how good and the tiers above them, and I just don't really know how to group, these 6 teams.
I'll tell you this: the Steelers are AFC North champs. I mean, you can just peg that right now, which is crazy to say in going into week 6, but they're AFC North champs. They're a playoff team based off of what's been happening in that division, where all year offseason long we talked about the toughest division in football, and they're going to beat the living crap out of each other all year. Anemic Browns with Dylan Gabriel, the toddler at quarterback. Jake Browning, who can't stop throwing interceptions because his girlfriend wants to be Instagram famous. And then the Ravens that can't stop a cold. I mean, their defense is just a sieve. So, yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers are AFC North champions. Count it right here.
It's kind of crazy how quickly, because especially if the Ravens lose a couple more non-Lamar Jackson games.
They're toast.
And even
well, you know what? If the Ravens lose 2 more games, I ain't playing them here. If I'm if I am the Ravens, I am accepting my fate. You talk about a time to tank. That's a time to tank. They're going to be so far back. Get the draft pick, boys.
Wow. Just sit Lamar the rest of the year. I don't think that's going to happen. He's going to come back for the Vikings game for sure.
At some point he comes back, yeah, but still.
All right, 2 things here. I thought things were different here. This is the Raiders, the Chargers, the Cardinals, the Panthers, the Raiders.
Wow,
I thought
the Chargers' disrespect here is palpable.
Look, I know they had the offensive line problems, but I thought, man, after 2 weeks, I thought we were talking about a Super Bowl team here. Now they've had injuries, but I thought things were different. I thought Justin Herbert was rising up, and now they've come back down.
This is so transparent. Your hate for Herbert is so transparent.
Once they get, I don't know when Alt is coming back, but once they get Alt back, they definitely don't belong with these teams. But yeah, they've lost a couple games.
Well, Amari and Hampton dinged up too.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't end up finishing that game, and then you're still riding the wave of Quentin Johnston of what actually is he, what isn't he, and that whole piece there. So, not sure.
Yeah.
Cardinals starting 2-0, then they've dropped some games here.
Kyler Murray sucks, man. I can't with him.
He's such a mope. He's a mope, dude.
I know. He's not a leader.
Have you ever seen him leading
He's
anyone?
not a leader at all,
Yeah.
and it drives me nuts. And then you got Jonathan Gannon uppercutting his players on the sideline, rightfully so, by the way.
Crazy.
What's going on with that?
Punch that dude.
Punch him. He deserves it. I don't know.
He does. That's 2 consecutive weeks that I believe we've had a guy drop the ball just before the goal line.
understand it, dude.
like, what are we doing?
You're idiots. I don't know. Hand the ball to the referee. It's what I was. Like, I remember every coach I've ever gone to, they're like, hey, just hand the ball to the referee. Right? Just hand it to him. No, let's drop it at the goal line and do the look at me, I'm so cool thing. Yeah, good job, bud.
Idiots.
And you get a self-suck fine when you cross the goal line, even if you're holding the ball across the goal line.
And then you should be, I mean, it should be the Full Metal Jacket where everyone beats you with a bar of soap and a sock. Like, that's what you deserve.
Panthers too. I really did. I thought the Panthers would be a little bit better, more competitive. They look like the Panthers. They look exactly.
They are the Panthers.
They're exactly like the Panthers.
They are the Panthers.
And then I kept the Packers and Cowboys from a week ago in the same tier. I doubled down on it. I still hate that you tied. I can't stand it.
Why are you tying? Why are you tying?
God,
It's
the tie's the
ridiculous.
worst, dude. Let me just beat the crap out of myself and let's just shake hands and say, well, I guess we shouldn't have done that.
The last 2 sections here, it's the this sucks tier, and that's the Bengals and Ravens who have their quarterbacks hurt. They have not gotten off to the starts they thought they were, and here they are having to watch other quarterbacks play and just their teams not live up to expectations. So they get their own tier of this sucks. And then in the bottom one here, which team stinks the most? It's the Jets, Saints, Giants, Titans, Browns, Dolphins. Now, like Titans. Got to win. Good for the Titans.
That was crazy.
That game was so stupid.
Yeah, the Titans needed an interception, fumble, recovery to get one of those touchdowns. It's unbelievable.
Which team though does stink the most of this group?
The Jets.
Yes,
I think it's the Jets. I mean, it's bad. It's really bad.
The Jets are. Remember week 1 where we were all like, oh, they might score some points this year. They might do something. No,
Good game.
No, they're struggling. Just die.
The fact that Mike McDaniel is still employed this morning on Monday as we record this, to me, is a miracle. Did you see that shot
his sad
of him
walk
walking
through
up the tunnel?
Yeah,
Dude,
like he's just alone.
That's a defeated man.
I would hope, though, that the high pants as a coach he is wearing would get him a fine in your room as well.
The
joggers?
capris?
The capri fine?
capri,
Like capri jogger kind of.
That's not working for me.
Oh.
And he pulls them up a little higher to show even more shin.
I've got a player on Miami, and I can't break confidence here, but he's an interesting guy.
I want one more of those Lucy packets up in there for Jay and get him a little more loosened up to tell.
We got more coming with the O-line committee. Don't you worry.
Football.
O-line committee. Find more of Jeremiah and Alex Boone and myself too. We'll be dropping our Week 5 recap episode today. But thanks for joining Purple Daily, man. I think bringing some knowledge to the offensive line discussion.
I mean, those guys did what they did. I mean, to win a game with 4 backups is almost unheard of. And for those guys to come in, I will say this: when you come in as a backup, you kind of black out. Like you're just kind of running on adrenaline, and you don't really know. Now, if those dudes have to start, that's when things will go off the rails. I'm telling you, it's one thing to come in and spot start and back up and ride that high when it's your show and someone's preparing against you. Totally different conversation.
Yeah. So let's bye week. Let's get Brian O'Neill back. Let's get Donovan Jackson back and just kind of see what happens. So, all right, for Jeremiah Sirles, the sports dad, Judd, old Dex's tears. I'm Phil, and this is Purple Daily. 365 days a year, slinging Vikings takes. See you guys.